Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast. My name is Brian Arscott, and I'm here with Evan. And in this live stream, we will be rocking a few ESPN fantasy mock drafts. Here we go. Man, gets me every time, the Matthews Selly. Evan's going to explain the breakdown here of what everything's going to be working at. But before we kind of get there, I think we should address the elephant in the room. Ryan's not here. I don't know if for those of you that kind of saw the polls, he didn't win the best mock draft, so he's taking a week off just to recover and recuperate before he comes back. No, I'm joking. He's got other things to do, so we'll let him slide this time. Evan, let's turn it over to you, man.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing, but you do what you can and you move on to the next week. So maybe when he can gather his thoughts, he'll join us again.
There you go.
We're wishing him all the best. We're missing him here. So for ESPN mocks, it's a little bit different. We're going with points format. It's going to be 9 forwards, so not broken down into center, left wing, right wing, just forwards as a collective whole at 9, 5 defensemen, and 2 goalies. The points are as follows. Goals are 2 points, assists 1 point, power play points, half a point, shorthanded points, half a point, shots on goal, 0.1, hits 0.1, blocks 0.5. For goalies, you have 4 points for a win, -2 for goals against, 0.2 for saves, 3 for shutouts, and -1 for an overtime loss. Any thoughts on those kind of points and how this is set up in ESPN compared to the other leagues, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like guys that score shorthanded points are going to kind of skyrocket up in terms of value. I'm thinking of right off the top of my head, guys like Konechny, Tuck. Like it'll be interesting to see where they kind of go here. I'm wondering. I noticed as the room's kind of filling up. I wonder if we got some Apples and Ginos members here joining in as well. That would be pretty great. I looked at a couple of drafts earlier today, and obviously they were completely empty midday because I guess people are working. Yeah, it'll be kind of interesting to see how things turn out. How about you, Evan?
Yeah, ESPN's definitely different from the others. The 9 forward format's kind of interesting because you really don't have to prioritize, left wings above centers or et cetera. You can just kind of go for the best available forward. So for that reason, it makes it more interesting. And I think you can get some guys that you normally kind of would fade just because of position eligibility. And I think, honestly, weirdly, the goalies can sometimes go a bit sooner because of the point setup here, too. Yeah, excited to get into it. I have run ESPN before. I know it's not a fan favorite amongst the fantasy hockey community for various reasons. We know how ESPN loves hockey, but there are people who still do play in this format, so it'll be good to kind of get into this and see what we can do here.
Absolutely. Looks like we're about to get started here shortly. I had to refresh the page because I'm looking at your countdown. I see on the screen 16 seconds, and I'm looking at mine. It said 9 minutes and 16 seconds. Made me a little worried. So luckily we've rectified that. So looking forward to getting this ball rolling.
Yeah, absolutely, man. As we're getting in here, I'm going to have the 9th pick. You're going to have the first overall pick here, Brian. Any thoughts on who you might take?
I mean, it might be a huge, a lot of controversy here. No, I'm going McKinnon with the 1, absolutely. And I wonder if draft's starting in a minute. So I get to think this over. I might, weigh some pros and cons, but yeah, I'm probably going to go McKinnon. Any knock on that?
No, not at all. We got a comment coming in here. Jordy, hey boys, I'm in the 3 spot and an Edmonton hater. I can't bring myself to take Dry. Plus Edmonton is in coast to the playoffs mode, so I feel like Kucherov is my choice. Is it insane to consider Makar? I really don't think so. I think Makar in kind of the top 4 to 5 picks really isn't, anything crazy. I think you could talk me into Makar as high as 3. You know, basically anything before McDavid, McKinnon, you know, I would say not there, but the 3 to 5 spot is totally fine by me. I think you can consider Draisaitl and Kucherov as well. What about you, Brian, thinking that way?
Yeah, I mean, defense we know are super valuable, especially like the elite level defensemen. So I wouldn't be opposed to taking Makar there. I think preferably I see it as McDavid, Draisaitl, Kucherov, and then you can go Makar. But if you want to go with Makar, no one's going to knock you on that.
Yeah. There we go. Right. As we get this sound going, let's get to the board here. So you do go with McKinnon at the 1-1. You know what's interesting is I'm sure you probably saw today the McDavid kind of news conference with Reinhart and Crosby where they're asking about the contract extension. Any thoughts on that, Brian? I think it's kind of interesting. He keeps kind of fading, you know, well, I'm going to sign. He kind of just says, well, I'm going to keep my options open, you know, kind of the easy out.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I watched that clip and then I saw a couple of posts. I think even like TSN might have posted that McDavid said his intention is always to be in Edmonton to win the cup. And I'm scratching my head wondering, I don't remember him saying that. Like, I don't remember him saying that, but I think he's still going to sign in Edmonton. I don't know about you. Like where else is he? Like, he'll go to Toronto. That'd be great. But no, he's not going anywhere other than Edmonton. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think when you really look at it, like what situation is better for him than being with Draisaitl and in the Pacific? Like it makes no sense. It's frustrating for sure that they've gotten buzzsawed by the Panthers 2 years in a row, and you know it's tough for them. But I think that they're in the best position, and he knows the team. He knows his coach. So yeah, I think he does stay there. I think it was funny that they were showing clips of Reinhart next to him, kind of like holding back laughter. Almost gives you this weird, like, is he going to the Panthers? That'd be something. It won't happen. But I just, in my head, I'm like, oh, man, like, Sam Reinhart's just over there laughing. We just won the cup. McDavid, you know, can't get past Gustav Forsling. Haha.
Yeah, seriously. And the other thing, like, the coach knows McDavid. Like, they put all these pieces in place for McDavid to succeed there. I mean, I don't see Edmonton coming back to the Stanley Cup final this upcoming year, but I don't know. They're so stacked up. You can just get a goalie, you know, maybe a little more help on defense. Then yeah, they can absolutely challenge the Panthers. And again, Panthers aren't winning the cup again. Book it. I'm telling you, they're not going to do it. It's impossible.
Yeah, no, it's going to be hard. So as we kind of get through here, we'll recap some of the picks. You know, Nathan McKinnon goes 1, Connor McDavid 2, Austin Matthews 3 is spicy, Connor Hellebuck at the 4. Cale Makar at the 5, Kucherov at the 6, Draisaitl at the 7, Ottinger at the 8 is interesting. I went Kaprizov, then we go Forsberg at the 10, Pasternak at the 2-1. I go Werenski at the 2-2, Brady Tkachuk at the 2-3, Mikko Rantanen at the 2-4. This is kind of when you get into some of these ESPN mocks, you know, when you're looking at these, you know, Jake Ottinger in the first round, you love to see it, our 0G strategy here, but it just allows us to get some of these other picks. You know, David Pasternak going with the 13th or the 11th pick is crazy to me, but I love it. I was hoping he fell to me again. I was going to go Kaprizov, Pasternak.
Imagine that. That would be absolutely electric. I was actually just looking at the draft board. I'm thinking to myself, oh, Cale Makar didn't go because I saw Werenski, and then I was like, okay, great, I'm going to pick up Makar. But of course, he goes at the
on the way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you're coming up on your pick, we got a comment. Jackknife, should goalies be taken in points only draft? I mean, their points are made up stats. Points only should be what counts towards the Art Ross. You know, goalies are still going to be taken. It's just how high you take them. You know, I think some of these, they get taken really high because they can put up some points. And we got at the 2-9, we got Frederik Andersen. I love that pick. No, we got recapping a little bit in between there. Sam Reinhart at the 2-5, Willie Nylander at the 2-6, Matthew Tkachuk at the 2-7, Ovi at the 2-8, Freddie Anderson, and Brian scoops up Artemi Panarin. So not bad to go Nathan McKinnon and Panarin with his first 2 picks. You love to see it. And then he goes Kyle Connor at the 3-1. Again, the lowest we've seen Kyle Connor go in any type of draft. But this is what's fun about it. You can get some of these players. And then Sidney Crosby after that. But
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, no.
No, I was going to say I didn't realize that I turned off the sound, so I didn't even realize it was my pick. So I got 16 seconds to make my pick here. That's the beauty of the ESPN mock drafts here. You get to stress over getting a pick in as quickly as you can. You got 30 seconds here, which I know you and Ryan had to deal with when you guys doing the Yahoo ones. So comfortable with Panarin, Connor. After I went with Panarin and Kyle Connor at the 3-1, which is hilarious. Sidney Crosby goes to 3-2, Sergei Bobrovsky, Vasilevsky, Jack Hughes at the 3-5, Mackenzie Weegar. And then we're coming up on your pick. Evan, are you eyeing anyone in particular here?
Not really. I mean, again, it's nice because, again, you can take a lot of these forwards, if you want, because you could take like the centers because it's just all forwards. It doesn't get broken down between that. But I think I'm going to go kind of off the board here. I'm going to grab Rasmus Dahlin in the third round, which I think, again, is really good value for him there. And then I'm going to go back here again, and I'm going to grab Evan Bouchard. So I am going to kind of just go with some defensemen here and just have like the best defensive stack anyone's ever seen with Werenski, Dahlin, and Bouchard, as you went with the solid forward stack of McKinnon, Panarin, Kyle Connor.
That's not too shabby.
So, you're kind of loving life a little bit as we get Yossi after that in the fourth. Sometimes when you're in these Yahoo and ESPN mocks, you're hoping that this is your actual team in real life as you'd be raking in the dough. But no, as we can kind of see, some of these goalies going really high too. Even in this format, the goalies are still not putting up, near as many points, even the top end ones, as some of these forwards and defensemen relative to the position. So I'm still fine to fade them in these scenarios. I will say, like in some ESPN formats, goalies do put up a lot more points depending on like the save and goals against for the minus. A lot different too than categories formats. But you're coming up on your pick here, Brian. Any thoughts? Looking at some guys.
There's so much to choose from. There's so many options.
It's good stuff.
I'm thinking I'll probably go with a little bit of a defense run here. I don't want you to take every defenseman, and I realize there's probably more forwards that you can choose from, right? Because we're not talking about that positional, limitation here. So that's what I think I'm going to go for.
Yeah, and so I went Bouchard 4-2, Roman Josi 4-3, Jack Eichel 4-4, Seider 4-5, Braden Point 4-6, Jake Gensel 4-7, Seth Jarvis 4-8, John Carlson at the 4-9, and Victor Hedman at the 4-10. Not a bad defenseman to grab at the end of the fourth round. I think we should mention this is like a 10-team league as well, so there is going to be some more options instead of the 12s. And so you go Hedman and Morrissey, not a bad stack for your first two defensemen in the fourth and fifth round either. And then Stuart Skinner goes after that too.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Like who would you prefer, Josh Morrissey or Adam Fox?
That's a great one. For me personally, I actually would go Adam Fox. Josh Morrissey is the safer pick with a higher floor, I think, especially because of his peripherals. I'm betting more on a Rangers bounce back and Adam Fox to be a part of that instead of Josh Morrissey to maintain his production that he did with the Jets. The Jets had an insane year last year, but Morrissey didn't necessarily like completely capitalize on that. Like if you look at his last two seasons, they were relatively similar. But I really like Adam Fox this year in that spot. How about you? Do you kind of see it differently, obviously, taking Josh Morrissey?
Yeah, I like Josh Morrissey. I think like you saw Adam Fox that did last year. I think that is the worst case scenario for the Rangers, but there is that possibility that they are that bad again. I don't think it's likely, but it is a possibility. And for that reason, simple as that, I just kind of went with Josh Morrissey. I see them pretty similarly. But yeah, I think the Rangers are kind of bound for a little bit of a bounce back. So I'm not surprised to see him go right after Josh Morrissey here. I saw you pick Mitch Marner. That's hilarious. You get Mitch Marner at the 5'9", and then Jason Robertson, who I had queued up, hoping to get him in the 6th round.
Yeah, it's a fun time. There's, like you said, like when you look at the board like this in the 10-team ESPN points league, you're gonna have some value there. But it is good to get some of your picks in here. It's making us feel better about our drafting, right? Especially without Ryan here, because he would have taken some of these guys. But yeah, I feel good about Mitch Marner in the 5th round. That feels pretty good to me. I'll recap a little bit here as you're looking at some of these picks. After Stuart Skinner at the 5-2, we go Tom Wilson at the 5-3, Cole Caulfield at the 5-4, Adam Fox at the 5-5, Jake Sanderson at the 5-6, Tage Thompson at the 5-7, Kirill Marchenko at the 5-8. I go Mitch Marner at the 5-9. JT Miller goes at the 5-10. Tim Stutzla at the 6-1. I go Jason Robertson at the 6-2. Adrian Kempe at the 6-3. Matt Boldy at the 6-4. Jesper Brad at the 6-5. And then we got Clayton Keller at the 6'6", Marty Nikas at the 6'7", both of whom I considered between Jason Robertson, Sebastian Aho at the 6'8". A lot of these guys, as we're getting into this, it's getting spicier and spicier the further we go down here in terms of the value we're getting at these rounds. And we can say that again as you go with Brandon Hagel at the 6'10", which I really love. That is really good stuff. Yeah, we're crafting these master teams here. If only we could play some of these out, I would love that. And you go Travis Konechny at the 7-1. I'm sure you listened, and I did as well, to the recent projection video that Nate and Blake did on the Flyers. They had a pretty healthy floor projection for Konechny, and I'm seeing it somewhat similarly. And he is going to play shorthanded, I believe, still. And ESPN here, we're counting shorthanded points for 0.5. So that's a slick move there, Brian.
Yeah, I think that was going to be my spiciest take of this draft. I get that in before someone else snatched him. I probably could get him the way things are going. I could probably have got him in the 10th round, but I'm okay with picking him up here just because, yeah, you have that shorthanded points are a little bit extra here. So I like that. He gets a lot of ice time. He'll be on the penalty kill. What was it? I think Blake said that he almost had more shorthanded points than he had power play goals or something like that, which is absolutely crazy. So like I'm riding that one all day.
Yeah. I feel like you have to.
That's the clock here.
It's pretty easy. I'll take a look here. See what I got. Let's see.
Yeah, very interesting. You see Alexander Nikishin goes at the 7-2, followed by Jackson Lacombe. I love that people are eyeing these guys, but I think we could probably get them a little later. Dylan Gunther, you're picking at the 7-9. Can't hate on that too much. Obviously a young stud. And then you go with Lane Hudson at the 8-2. I'm seeing Lane Hudson go in like best balls. I know a little different, but I've seen him going as early as like the beginning of the 4th round. So you must feel good about getting him at the 8-2.
Yeah, I think doing some of these ESPN mocks and the Yahoo ones too, like a lot of people fade defensemen, and it is a 5 defenseman format here. So I do like getting Lane Hudson there. Like I said, just stacking up my defense. Really can't hate on it. Dylan Gunther, you only have 30 seconds to make your picks here. So he kind of looked like the best in the forward group I was looking at, but really can't hate on him. I think 30 goals, 65 plus points this year, tons on the power play is what we're in line for after his breakout last year. And I think a lot of those Utah players taking the next step. I think we kind of missed some of these, but after your Travis Konechny pick, we went Nikishin at the 7-2, Lacombe at the 7-3, Tavares at the 7-4, Suzuki at the 7-5, Tuck at the 7-6, Sergachev at the 7-7, Darcy Kemper at the 7-8. I go Gunther. Then we got Matt Coronado at the 7-10, Stamkos at the 8-1. I go Lane Hudson at the 8-2. Elias Pettersson goes at the 8-3, Wyatt Johnson at the 8-4. Vinny Tro at the 8-5, Nico Hischier at the 8-6, Fantilli at the 8-7, Dustin Wolf at the 8-8, Jordan Stahl goes at the 8-9. I'm really loving Eva's team here. We're going to have to go back and look at this. And you go and snipe me and take Luke Hughes at the 8-10. I was hoping he was going to fall a little bit more for my last defensive pick. But that's a solid pick here in the 8th round. In some drafts, if people are kind of sleeping on him or thinking Dougie's going to take over that top power play role, in a lot of standard points leagues, he might fall. Maybe not quite this high, and actually maybe so. 8th, 9th round Jack Hughes, I feel like a lot of people would be really happy with. And you go Vince Dunn at the 9-1.
Yeah, there's still a couple of defense here that I like, but I'm a big fan of Vince Dunn. He's on a really horrible team, but I like what he can do for me. A little bit more ice time would be incredible. I don't think he will get it behind Montour, but I also prefer him over Montour. I'm noticing here. There's a couple of comments here. I'm wondering if maybe we should pull one or two of these open here. Let me see. Jack Knight, should goalies be taken in points only drafts? I mean, their points are made up stats. Points only should be what counts towards the Art Ross. Interesting take. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I brought it up earlier, but we're still in the 0G strategy here. So that's kind of where I land on that as well.
Yeah, I think I'm waiting until the last round or last 2 rounds to pick anyone for the goalies here. And I noticed that you are up. I was just about to throw you a question, so I'm not going to do that. I went Luke Hughes, Vince Dunn. Then after that, we got Jalen Chatfield. Interesting. Mike Matson, Nazem Kadri, Thomas Harley, Mark Scheifele, Noah Dobson, DeBrincat, Matt Barzell, Dylan Holloway, Bo Horvat. And then you follow that up with Alex Barkov at the 10-2. How does he end up at the 10-2? All right, we'll talk about your steals. I'm okay with that.
Barzell, I probably could have waited quite a bit more too. But I find myself like almost autopiloting in like some of the mid to later rounds to like almost just search him and grab him because I fully believe he's going to be integrated back into the top line, top power play, and get at a minimum to me, I think 70-point Barzell we have. So I'm excited about him. Barkov, yeah, falling to the 10 spot, can't get much better than that. That's I think I did a few earlier and had him in a few spots. I don't know why he falls this low in the ESPN projections. But yeah, so I go Barzell. Then we got Dylan Holloway at the 9-10, Bo Horvat at the 10-1. I go Barkov at the 10-2, Kyrou at the 10-3. Connor Bedard in the 10th round at the 10-4 is a really good pick. Lucas Raymond at the 10-5, Kevin Fiala at the 10-6. Mika Zibanejad goes at the 10-7, Stankoven at the 10-8, Dylan Strome at the 10-9. And you go Nick Ehlers at the 10-10, which is a really good pick in the 10th round. I'm seeing Nick Ehlers go, as high as like the 4th or 5th round in a lot of drafts. So 10th round Nick Ehlers, you love that. I really like his potential there in Carolina. I think it is going to be kind of, more opportunity, obviously, than he had in Winnipeg, being on that top line with Sebastian Aho, top power play, kind of just running it. And you're getting into your next pick here as well. We got some more guys popping in. King of the Corn. Won my points league with 0G strat last year. Would Quinn Hughes be one of your top Ds this draft? I certainly think so. I know it's going to be a spicy take, but I've considered drafting him ahead of Zach Werenski in spots. I know Zach Werenski went off last year and he's got more peripherals than Quinn, and Vancouver doesn't look to be the best kind of moving forward. Man, I can't be out on that talent of Quinn Hughes. I fully believe he can be a point per game defenseman. It's really like a 1A, 1B with Makar and him. Makar way ahead, but still really with that talent. What about you?
Yeah, for me, to be honest, I think I would actually go Werenski over Hughes. I think Hughes has more offensive potential. I just think Werenski brings a little bit more. Like, he shoots a lot more. He'll block a lot more. Whereas Hughes kind of gets out of the way of the puck sometimes. Like, he is a forward he basically is a forward who happens to be on the blue line. So that's kind of my take. I don't think you can go wrong with either of them, to be honest. I see them pretty similar. I see Cale Makar still better than both of them, obviously, but I don't see them that different, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Let's see here. You go with Raw. Okay, I'll just quickly recap because I know it's been a while. After I went Steelers, went Matvey Michkov. When you got Jankowski, Dylan Larkin, Pavel Dorofeev, Jeek, Timo Meyer, Dougie Hamilton, Brock Nelson. You went with Robert Thomas, then followed by Frank Petrano, Logan Cooley. You followed up with a goalie, Aiden Hill, and then we got Ricard Raquel. What happened to 0G? Tell me that.
We're in the 12th round here, so you're looking at some of these projected points, and I don't necessarily agree with him from ESPN standpoint, but I think I'm going to grab a good starter here as they are starting to be off of the board. A lot of people, when you get Ottinger taken with the 8th overall pick, It's it's a tough look because these goalies are going to go. So getting one is not a bad idea, I think, here as Mackenzie Blackwood goes as well. I was eyeing him between Aiden Hill and Mackenzie Blackwood. Some more comments on as you're coming up on your pick. King of the Corn, Nick Ehlers will just get injured though. He does have an injury history. I think I don't really buy into the fact that he will for sure get injured again, and I really like his opportunity in Carolina. Top line, top power play, and again, I think his point ceiling can be insane this year in that opportunity. And we got this guy Nate in here. Smash that like button. Agree. Subscribe and bell on for notifications. Always. And Nate, of course, hops in as I take a goalie. Just to troll me with this, just to remind me that we're on 0G. No,
following up with a goalie.
You go Anthony Stoller's hometown favorite here at the 12-10, and Carter Verhaeghe in the 13th round feels insane to me. Talk to me about both of those picks, Brian.
Yeah. To be honest, I probably should have just kept fading goalies. I was running fine with goalies. I think you pressured me, to be honest.
Sorry.
But it's all right. No, I actually really like Verhaeghe at this spot. Obviously, you can't really hate it too much. But yeah, I did take a look at the goalies in the 30 seconds that I do have, and there isn't much. There's a couple of good ones still, but we're getting pretty thin here. So I figured, why not go ahead with the goalie. But after I went with Verhaeghe, you got Logan Thompson comes off the board, then Rupe Hintz, Erik Karlsson, Seth Jones, Miro Heiskanen, Ilya Sorokin, Chris Kreider, and then you're up here on the clock. So we got two more goalies taking this round here, and I'm curious if you're going to take another goalie. You know, pad those stats a little bit here. No, I'm joking. I know you won't because Blake is watching and he will come for you. You go with Matthew Knies. Yeah,
go with Matthew Knies, trying to be, good on that. And this is going to break your heart, but I think I have to do it as well. I am going to go another goalie to solidify the position for myself. It's just, I think at this point, again, we're getting kind of in the later rounds here, and they have flown off the board. As you can see, we got Joey Decord going as well, Sam Montembeault. Starters are just leaving us left and right. So lock in my two starters. I found that Jacob Markstrom, probably because of his injury history and kind of how the Devils fell off last year, is going late in a lot of drafts. So I feel like he could be a decent 0G option for a lot of players moving into their drafts. I fully believe he has the capability to be a top-tier netminder, probably in the top 10. We get Demko going after that. So, again, it's like you said, we get these influences on these runs. It's a point to bring up that sometimes the draft, the way it's going, can influence some of your decisions, but you shouldn't let it. Brian got pressured into Stolarz. But it's not a bad pick. Stolarz is going to be great. I think he's shown he is the 1A option there in Toronto as opposed to Wool at this point. But sometimes if, you got a defenseman run going in your draft, if you got, a bunch of left wings going, don't feel pressured to then take a player that may not be the best at that spot. Sometimes you might just have to, again, if the draft's going that way, you fade D or you fade the goalies. And as you go Morgan Riley with defenseman, I was thinking about taking him on the way around. Back kind of we're in the 13th, 14th round. It's kind of hard to recap all these picks, but Shea Theodore at the 14-4 is kind of nuts for defenseman. Really good stuff. Jacob Chikrin at the 14-6 I really like as well. Drake Batherson at the 14-8, Svechnikov at the 14-9, some really good picks. And you go Owen Tippett at the 15-1. I like that.
Yeah, you like that. I was running out of time, man. It's all the pressure here. I'm crumbling under the pressure here, guys. No, Owen Tippett, we know he's a chucker. We do know that. But hey, who knows? Maybe this year he starts converting a little bit. And as Blake likes to say, maybe he can put the biscuit in the basket. We'll see. Time will tell.
This is very true. And, you never know what's going to happen. We got not too many defensemen. I'm kind of looking at myself here as I'm coming up on one of my picks, but nothing I'm terribly interested in there. For the forwards, it's kind of getting to that spot as well. I'm trying to find some value here as we get into these spots. So I'll kind of let you take over as I'm looking.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just going to ask if you're looking for another defenseman or not, but I know you're scrambling for the pick. You have 15 seconds, so make them count. But yeah, I think it's good, especially in this kind of mock, just to kind of go out and get a high level defenseman early, because like we're seeing now, they do that pretty quickly. The rest of the defensemen, we got to fill 5D spots, so. We like that. I know. I see you went with Valerie Nichushkin and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I love that. Maybe Gabriel Landeskog might be available. I might pick him up. What are your thoughts? I guess, which one do you think is better value? Nuge at the 15.9 or Nichushkin at the 16.2?
I think they're both kind of similar. It kind of depends on where you're at with each of these players. I think the better player is Nichushkin at this point in his career. He's going to get more goals, more shots. I think he hits more. The question is really like, is he going to get that top power play? And I think if you're really looking at putting the best line out there, I think he is it on the top power play over Arturi Lehkonen, over some of their other options. I think that they should go with Nichushkin, but I know that they're going to staple Gabe Landeskog on there as well, being the captain, and McKinnon's chemistry with him. But Val Nichushkin has proven time and again, when he's healthy and able to play, then he will produce. And then Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, with that big season 2 years ago, along with the rest of Edmonton, you're kind of hoping he can get back in between there. I don't think he's going to do as bad as he did last year, kind of 50-point range, and I don't think he's going to get back to the 80, 90 points he had. I think he'll be somewhere in the middle, like 60, 65-point Nuge feels good to me, especially in this spot. And then you go with Matt Duchene at the 16-10, who I certainly was looking at as well between those two players, because I think realistically he's probably going to have higher point totals. Even being, second line, second power play, he's shown he can produce there. And I think his line mates only get better with the departure of Mason Marchman. So they got to stack those top two lines. And you go Tyler Toffoli too.
Yeah, I go with Toffoli because I think that San Jose, I mean, he's going to be kind of glued next to Celebrini, and we think Celebrini is the real deal. So I can't knock on that too much. And Duchene, I feel like I've been preying on his downfall for the last, 6 years for no reason at all. I don't have anything to back it up. I just assume he's not going to be good, and every year he keeps proving me wrong. So this is the year I decide not to knock Matt Duchene and pick him up. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going with here. Looks like we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more rounds. I guess we do need a goal. Are you thinking of picking up a goalie in this one?
I think I'm going to go with another defenseman here. I'll see what's available. I'm trying to get my 5th defenseman here, as you snagged Luke Hughes from me quite a few rounds ago. But I just try and give what they give to you. We got some comments here as well. How do you boys feel about the draft positions of some of the D-men that have high caliber running mates? I feel like Weegar and Hudson are being overdrafted based on the Dobson-Parekh options. I'll let you kind of touch on that, Brian.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, we kind of, I guess we might have talked about it a little bit, but I think you value those guys. Like Parekh could take over power play from Weegar. I don't think he's going to start. And Weegar gives you so much value in every other kind of spot you're looking for in fantasy. So they are still very valuable. You look at other, players that are attached to these high caliber players like Makar, you got Devon Taves, like he's a solid player, but he's nowhere near the caliber of someone like Makar. Like you need those top end caliber players. So I don't know if they're going, too early or anything like that. Like I think that they're valued where they are, but you can definitely get some value from those guys just by sheer exposure. Evan, what do you think?
No, I agree with the exposure take. And I think part of it is Jordy's kind of leaning into, well, if there's like this potential for, someone else to eat into their time share, their power play share, like does that kind of decrease their value? And I think it does, at least subjectively. Like I kind of felt the same way about Mackenzie Weegar, to be honest with you. Like with Zane Parekh, like I don't think he's going to come in and just take that top power play role and run with it right off rip. It's possible that throughout the season that happens, but that possibility kind of lingers in your mind. Well, if I take Uyghur super high just based on his peripheral floor, can his point totals actually be eaten into if Parekh actually emerges? And I think that's a valid thought process, but Uyghur's kind of a little different because he's the unicorn of periffs, the 200 club, 200 shots, hits, blocks. So I think he's going to give you value either way. Lane Hutson's a little bit more interesting because at even strength, he got a lot of time with Marty St. Louis and a lot of trust there last year. With the arrival of Noah Dobson, does that hold true? I think it still will. His even strength ice time might go down a little bit, but I still fully suspect Lane Hutson will get to the 60, 65 plus point range, if not more. I don't think that what he did last year was a fluke by any means.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, I agree there. I think it'll be interesting to see what Marty St. Louis does. Like, let's say for whatever instance, the Montreal Canadiens, their power play goes a little stale. Do they switch it up by taking Hutson off, putting Dobson there? And then if it starts clicking with Dobson, how long is it until Hutson gets back on power play? I think that's going to be a little unlikely because we know how much of a stud Hutson is, but Dobson can also quarterback a power play very well. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting there for sure. Let's see here. Is there any other? Yeah, basically, let me pull this up. Yeah, basically, why would I take Uyghur with question marks attached when Morrissey might be available around or after that? Yeah, absolutely. Like, you definitely want to take an idea or take a look at who's available, who's going to have, some risk to that position that they're in, and then make your analysis from that point. I think a guy like Uyghur obviously holds a lot more value in, say, like categories league over a points league, whereas Morrissey is valuable, wherever he is because he does have a high point ceiling. So yeah, I think it's really just about taking a look at what is out there, what is what, and kind of going from there. Let's see here. We haven't done any sort of recap. We just
moving
can't.
too quick.
We can't. Yeah, we just can't. So I went with Jared McCann in my pick, and then at the other end of the draft board, you went with Sean Monahan and Brock Besser. Yeah, talk to me about these guys.
Yeah, I think just later in any draft, these are players I kind of target. Brock Besser, I feel like would go much higher in a normal draft. But the question for him is, can he get back to that 40 goal potential? And I don't think that's really in the cards for him this year. I think 30 goals is a possibility, kind of like a 30-30 player. So I don't hate that at all. Sean Monahan, I fully believe, will be a 60, 65 plus point player, still getting on that top line, top power play. I think Columbus is only going to get better with their young guns kind of taking off. Real question there is Fantilli going to kind of overtake him a bit at the starting center spot? But I don't see that as a for sure thing, just with the chemistry he developed with that top line of Marchenko and Voronkov. So I like that. I like a Jared McCann bounce back too at the 19-1. The guy shoots. If they would only play him the minutes he deserves and put him in those opportunities with a good line mate consistently, instead of sometimes having him on the third line, I think he could do wonders. And you go Dylan Cousins, who I think we've talked about in a few different spots, especially categories leagues, because he hits, he shoots, he kind of does it all. And he's getting that top power play slot. So it could be really interesting. And then you go Ryan Donato, the waiver wire king from last year.
Yeah, he definitely helped a couple teams out this past year. He was absolutely nuclear in the end. And I got me wondering, who the heck is Ryan Donato? Isn't Connor Bedard on that team? He was so good. But I guess you love to see it. We're coming up here. We only got, I guess, a round and a half left, which I thought we had another round after. So I'm hoping that the guy that I have my eyes on does slide to me. That would be excellent. I'd be very happy to see. But I'm also looking, while you're coming up to your pick here, there was a comment earlier talking about picking up a player that plays the defensive partner of a top level player like Cale Makar. Devon Toews is going to give you some great value, and he's getting picked at the 21-4. So the second last pick of this guy's draft, he's picking Devon Toews. Like, you can't hate on that. That is excellent value. You really do like to see that. A couple more defensemen go. You got Trouba. You got Sean Durzi that go. We also see, after I went with Donato, we got Connor Garland, Pavel Buchnevich, Cole Perfetti, Mom Spaghetti, Arturi Lehkonen. You go with Zeev Buium. You love Zeev Buium. Followed by Brady Shea, Keandre Miller, and then I think you're going to Zeev Buium's brother or with Patrick Kane. That's exactly who I had my eye on. I was like, I wanted him. Great pick.
Yeah, no, it's a similar situation to a lot of these players. I feel like every time we do a mock draft, one of us takes a player that we've taken in prior drafts because your guys, right? The guys that you're targeting a lot of these drafts, and it doesn't necessarily change across a lot of formats, especially at the value that you get them at. And Zeev Boyum is for sure one for me that I'm keeping my eye on as a top power play quarterback with lots of potential, and then that exposure to Kaprasov, Jeek, and the rest of the top of the Minnesota Wild, Boldy, is really good to me. Patrick Kane with my last pick is feeling pretty good as a Red Wings fan too.
Yeah, that is great value, Patrick Kane. It's funny. I feel like a lot of people are projecting Patrick Kane to put up a lot of points, yet he's always still falling in fantasy drafts. You're getting him in the last round, the last 2 rounds, where you'd think he would go at least somewhere in the middle. So yeah, you can't hate on that one bit. I'm coming up with my pick, and I got one guy in mind. So, okay, he didn't get taken. Thank goodness.
Let's see it.
And I'm going to finish it up with Zuccarello.
Nice. I love that. That's a really good pick, honestly. So I really like what we did here, Brian. We'll kind of touch on some of our picks here. I'll let you talk about the Zucchini Man real quick as I kind of pull off another fantasy board here. So anyone that's joining us here on stream, we're going to be hopping into another ESPN League mock draft. And if you guys want to join us, we'll kind of show you the lobby we're going to join in here. So as we're coming up here, 8:45, we got 4 minutes. There's looking to be, let's see if we can find a 12-teamer. So let's see.
Yeah.
So there's a beginner 12-team head-to-head points mock starting at 8:45. Do you see that one, Brian? Beginner 12-team head-to-head points mock. I
see it.
8:45. I'm gonna join that one. You tell me where you want me to join. Actually, you know what? I'll take this. The second spot.
All right.
And then I'll let you take kind of one of the end spots. Now, I was gonna give you the option, but I don't want to really do that. I want to take the second pick from you.
All right, that's fair. I'll go in the 11th spot. So similar to where you were. That way, we're both kind of on either end here. But while we're waiting for this, because we do have, I guess, 2 minutes, so don't have that much time. We got 2 minutes. I wanted to ask you, you picked up Nichushkin. Where was it? Somewhere in the
16th round,
was
here?
it? Oh, 16th round? 16th round. And Gabriel
right after the Eggman.
Yeah, you picked him in the 4th round, right? No, you picked him at the 16th round, and Gabe Landeskog goes at the 22nd, so in the very last round. In your estimation, what do you think is a better value? Nichushkin at 16 or Landeskog at 22?
It's got to be Landeskog at 22. I kept seeing him and kept being like, oh, man, I want to take him, but 2 forwards in the same team. I was like, well, they're both going to be relative bench players for me based on this insane roster that we've created with some of these picks. But I think that's really good value for Gabe Landeskog. If he falls kind of further than, I would say for me, like the 11th, 12th round, I think you're getting a value pick because he's going to be top 6. He's going to get minutes with McKinnon. He's going to get top power play. So, I think the question is like how much production can he really put up? And the bigger question looming on everyone's mind, I would have to assume is he going to stay healthy for the majority of the season? So, but yeah, absolutely. Just a reminder, we're on the beginner 12-team head-to-head points starting at 8:45. If any of the listeners want to join in, we still got some spots available here. But
there's only 5 people in the room right now, so we got plenty of room. Hop in there, join with us.
Without Brian, our viewership is plummeted.
yeah, that's right. That's right. But the other thing I want to say about Gabe Landeskog, if you pick it up at the 22. That's also the territory you're going to be dropping guys anyways, or you feel comfortable dropping guys. So if he gets hurt, and he's going to be out for a couple months, you're going to feel fine with dropping him at that point. Whereas in the 16th round, also probably even in that territory, but you might want to hold on to the 16th round guys. Like you'd be a little bit more hesitant to drop someone if they're out for a couple months in the 16th round. So I really like that. We got 8 seconds left for those last minute scramblers. We get in here. You got 3 seconds. How fast can you draft?
The answer
not fast enough.
All right, let's see. I gotta enter the draft. We'll see if anyone else ended up sneaking in here.
Looks like we only have five people, I think, join.
I'm not seeing a ton at all. Let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna refresh this tab. We'll see who we else. Oh yeah, we only got a few. Well, that's just gonna make it that much easier for us. We're gonna see if we can kind of get just as good of players as we did this past draft here, Brian.
Yeah.
So
I'm
trying to look at your prior team. McKinnon, Panarin, Kyle Connor, Victor Hedman, Josh Morrissey, Hagel, Konechny. What a run there you have for the first 7 picks.
It's all right, isn't it? Like that's all right. That's almost like a second and third round of the draft. So I really like to see that. I know you snagged me, or you were hedging against me last week with the Luke Hughes versus Dougie Hamilton. So that's why I had to go back the other way. And yes, and I thought to myself, maybe this holds a little bit of stock. So I went with Luke Hughes there. Looks like we're about to get started in 15 seconds. Let's quickly take a look at your draft here, because you did have a couple picks. Who's your favorite pick from your last draft?
I really liked my defenseman run. I think Bouchard kind of in that area, and then I don't know. I had quite a few. Patrick Kane with my last pick. I really enjoyed, especially because you had him in the queue.
Yeah, of course. I got to say, I love the fact you got Marner at the 5, and then you got Barkov at the 10. You cannot hate on that. So I'm a big fan of that one there. So yeah, happy with that. Where are you drafting again in this one?
I am drafting second, and I just looked real quick, and I was at 10 seconds, and I was like, wait, where am I drafting again? And I almost looked at Pasternak, and then I realized I had the number 2 pick, so I went with McDavid. So can't hate on that. I think even though he's unsure about staying in Edmonton, I think I still take him there. Jordy's got a comment here as you're coming up on your pick, Brian. I like Hronek as an ultra late pickup this year in points leagues. Vancouver is going to rely on offense from the back end this year, and he had an injury hampering his shot last year. I do like Philip Hronek, former Red Wing, shout out. So yeah, I think Hronek, especially as a staple to Hughes, as well as that injury handcuff. Hronek is similar to Devon Toews to me. They're almost like identical in terms of their kind of role with the team and kind of what I believe their point production to be. I think Hronek probably has a little bit more upside offensively than Devon Toews, but yeah, I don't hate that take at all. And you somehow get Leon Draisaitl at the 11th pick. Talk to us about how you snagged that, Brian.
Yeah, it's called bribes. I've been bribing all the people on here. You don't know one on here. No, I have no idea. I got Draisaitl at the 11, and then I got Kaprizov at the 2-2. So I think we could just hand me the trophy for this league here. I think at that point.
I think you're right. I mean, this is really good stuff from you. So yeah, I mean, when we go, it's interesting. I think the first 6-7 picks here all kind of look like a lot of standard leagues. So you got McKinnon, McDavid, Kucherov, Hellebuck's thrown in there, but Makar, Matthews, Pasternak, that all looks pretty good. But then you see here, as the sounds keep going off, it kind of fell off with Matthew Tkachuk, because obviously he's confirmed to be out now. So, but I will go with Quinn Hughes here. I think that's pretty easy for me. Yeah. And then as we're coming up again, and I get sniped on Jack Hughes. I was going to go with the brother stack, but you know what? We'll have to pivot from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was so set to pick Zach Werenski at the 2-2 because I'm like, I want to get, an elite level defenseman this early. And then I realized Kaprizov is available, and Werenski doesn't even go almost until the end of the draft. Or at least, sorry, not the end of the draft, the end of the round. So that's incredible. You got one of Quinn Hughes or Zach Werenski. I'm sure you can't really complain too much there. And then you go with Evan Bouchard to start the third round. Are you feeling pretty good right now?
Yeah, again, not quite as good as you getting Draisaitl and Kaprizov, two top 6 picks in my opinion, but still pretty good. I was hoping that either Werenski or Jack Hughes kind of fell to me with Quinn, but I don't hate it. I love Bouchard, and I've kind of been thinking about taking him in a lot of other spots. We got Dahlin after that, and then we have Ovi following him at the 3-4. So again, in some of these leagues, you get these kind of picks here, like Ovechkin still in the 3rd round, which makes me feel younger again. It feels like we're taking us, 5 years back. Ovi's still going a little bit higher.
Absolutely.
You're
You know
coming up
what?
here.
I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with Hedman. And then I'm going to make you happy here by not picking Morrissey, but I'm going to go with Fox. See if that makes you a little happy there.
That is nice. I mean, you got the stack here of Leon Draisaitl, Kaprizov, Hedman, Fox. That is a great way to round out your team there. So I cannot hate on that. I'm going to kind of see what forwards I have available here as I'm coming up on my picks. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We have some of the big guns still left, which is nice. I'm going to go with Sam Reinhart here. I think that's a pretty easy pick. Leaving him on the board, 40 goal scorer. I think that's going to be pretty easy. Back on the clock. And I think, I've not given him as much love recently in some of these drafts. So I think I'm just trying to take a look here, but I got to go with my boy still. I love me some Tage. He's not, I feel like for a lot of people, he's either too risky of a pick or they're not as in love with Buffalo as I am. But his talent is off the charts. And I think that if they just put Alex Tuchman, we talk about it all the time. It's like we got to have like a direct line to Lindy Ruff just to be able to get in his ear and just tell him what to do. I mean, you would think it's just common sense, but sometimes it doesn't fall that way.
No, sometimes it just doesn't. I wanted to get your thoughts here on Elias Pettersson. Like, we know he's not going to touch 100 points again, but how much of a bounce back are you foreseeing for this guy?
It's interesting because he keeps going higher and higher in a lot of these mocks. He goes in the 5th round here. I think Elias Pettersson is easily going to get, 60, 65 points. I know I'm saying that about pretty much every player, but I think his floor is kind of in that realm. I don't believe that he gets back to, the 90 plus points that he had a few years ago. I think unfortunately that time has passed, but I do think he's going to get back. I think he battled through some injuries. He had the whole JT Miller saga, new coach. So hopefully that instills some confidence in him and rolls with him for his minutes and deployment. So I do really like a bounce back for him here. Do you have any different thoughts on Elias Pettersson?
I mean, I had him on one of my teams last year, so it can't get any worse than that. But he'll have. It's funny though, because I got to shout out Nate Blake here, because they did warn me listening to the pod not to draft Elias Pettersson, and I thought to myself, nah, I'm going to draft him. He's got good peripherals. Boy, was I wrong. I think he's absolutely going to bounce back, though. Obviously not to the same degree, but he also gives you a lot of peripherals, which is so valuable in fantasy. So that'll be good. I think I can definitely see him hitting 70, 75 points. Talent is there. It just was almost like hunger wasn't there. There was something going on. So yeah, I think a big bounce back is coming his way. I noticed you went with Maurice Cedar at the 6'11", followed by Sebastian. Let me ask you this first. I went with Victor Hedman at the 3'11", Adam Fox the 4'2", and then I still got Josh Morrissey at the 5'11". You like that?
Man, I love that. That is quite the defenseman stack you got going now. Very impressive stuff. And that's after you got Draisaitl and Kaprizov. So we might be coming up here on one of the best fantasy hockey teams drafted of all time. I think you're in that realm. Jesper Bratt, another, again, potential 90-point player that you get in the 6th round. This is giving me vibes. I think I got Jesper Bratt, I want to say in the 6th, maybe it was the 5th round of my draft last year. Man, that felt like an absolute smash last year. I remember looking at him there and just being like, I can't believe that he's falling this low, just because, again, a lot of people think he's just along for the ride with Jack Hughes, but if you watch those Devils games, which I did, he is generating so much from the neutral zone. He is a facilitator like no other. He's fast. He can make decisions really quick with the puck. And when he does shoot, he's accurate. So I love Jesper Bratt there. You go with Lucas Raymond as well. Really good pick. And Lane Hudson. Yeah, I mean, again, I think we just give you the trophy now. I think you said it earlier, but this is quite the draft that you have going.
This is awesome. Can all drafts be like this? Seriously. But I wanted to actually talk really quickly about Jesper Bratt, because Jesper Bratt I feel like does fall a little bit in drafts, which I don't know why, because he definitely has the capabilities of getting 100 points. But the thing is, like, he drives offense really good, and he's glued with Jack Hughes, but Jack Hughes also missed a lot of time. So it's been Jesper Bratt by himself without Jack Hughes. And not to mention, he'll actually hits a lot more than I thought he did. I think he was over hit a game last year, which is fantastic. And if you're going to get him in the 4th round, is great. And let alone getting him at the 6th round, like, I think that's great value here. You hopping on the defense train, picking up Seth Jones. I'm gonna take.
I don't know if you see in my queue who I've got pulled up here. I'm gonna go a little bit on the clock here. Or did something happen here? Let's see. Is it not letting me do it?
What's going on?
Oh, he's drafted. Oh, that's a tough spot. I thought that he was not drafted. Wow.
I didn't even see him go. Oh, he went on the 7th floor.
I didn't either, but I very quickly I was like, oh wow, where did he go? But he must have gone earlier. Okay, there he went. Well, I'm not upset with too much. A panic pick in Robert Thomas could have been worse. I love my boy Rob Tom. I think he's going to get 100 points this year now.
100 points.
That's it's well within the realm of possibility. I was surprised on Nate's episode when he had players to hit 100 points that Rob Tom wasn't on there. That's what I thought was going to happen. But that's why I don't have the keys to the kingdom in that show.
That's right. I mean, if you talk to Ryan will tell you all the reasons why you want to stay away from Robert Thomas for that. But I like Robert Thomas.
Yeah, no, I love me some Rob Tom. Similar, I think a lot of it's personal perception based, right? I got Rob Tom again, like in the 8th, 9th round or something in my league last year at fading centers, but he's very clearly shown that he has the ability to be a top tier center. Now the problem is his peripherals, but his points are just insane. We got some comments here as you're coming up on your picks. Would you keep Yossi or Sider in Keepers Points League this year? Love the mocks. That is a great question. I think for me, the safer pick is Sider. I just love his peripheral floor, and he's so young. I still think he's going to keep that top power play, at least to start. Yossi's concerned with his health and kind of his age a little bit. So I would go Sider there personally. But, I think the ceiling play is Yossi. But how about you? I don't know if you kind of heard that. Yossi or Sider in Keepers Points?
Ooh. Oh, in a Keepers points, though. Yeah, that is actually really tough. I think I would actually prefer initial knee-jerk reaction, I was going to say Sider, but I would actually lead towards Yossi. I think he'll be able to manage the injury that he has. I think he might not be obviously the top caliber Rome Yossi that we come to know and love, but he's definitely going to be able to put up more points than Mo Sider. Especially we also talked about a little bit of a threat in Detroit to Mo Sider's power play time, whereas there is no threat for Yossi in Nashville. Like, who's going to replace him on the power play? Mm-hmm. No one. So yeah, I think I feel better about Yossi.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. So I'm going to go similar to what you did. I feel like you've taken him in a few spots too. I took Zach Hyman at the 10-11 and then went Luke Hughes at the 11-2. I think we both kind of feel similarly about Zach Hyman. I think he's definitely due for a bounce back. It sounds like I saw some information that he is looking to be on track to start the season, recovering from his arm injury in the playoffs. So I really do like him to get back close to 30 goals, like 60-point territory, with a lot more involvement on the power play this year. You feel similarly about Zach Hyman, Brian?
Yeah, I do. I think there was a lot of injuries in Edmonton, and obviously things weren't clicking for Hyman, but what did he score the year before? Did he score 50 the year before? I mean, that was also because he had a big backboard stuck to him. So they just kind of fired pucks off him and hope for the best. But I think he's definitely due for a big bounce back, and you're going to get him at value this year, which is obviously great.
Yeah. Nope. You can't hate on that there. let's see, what do we got here? You're coming up on your pick. Some picks here in the 11th round. We got Jacob Chikrin, Brandon Montour, little defenseman run. Brian Rust in the 11th round is crazy. Will Cooley, Marco Casper, Noah Dobson, Rasmus Anderson, Tom Wilson, and Brian's on the clock, probably with another amazing pick. He goes Vince Dunn again. He's loving Vince Dunn, these mocks. But some of your other picks I kind of missed here. Drake Batherson and Svechnikov. Really good stuff there, too, in the 9th and 10th round. So for some guys that are going to shoot and hit, give you that peripheral floor. They go Tyler Toffoli after your Vince Dunn pick, Jared McCann at the 12-1, and you're up here, too. Some other notable picks here. Again, Travis Konechny goes in the 9th round in this draft. Alexander Barkov a little higher in the 8th, so I can't take him in the 10th. And you go Dougie at the 12-2. Do you think he's going to start the season on power play 1, and is he going to hold it the whole season? Is it quick 1, 2, 4?
I think I really just did this to spite you. No, I actually think he's going to start on the power play 1. But I think he will be taken over by Luke Hughes. I just don't know when that's going to be. I think we talked about this a little bit on the last pod, and my philosophy is with the Luke Hughes, Dougie Hamilton situation is it's Dougie Hamilton's until it's not. I think it's going to take an injury to Dougie Hamilton, which realistically can happen at any point. He has had a history of injuries, so I think Luke Hughes is going to take over the power play at some point, but I'm happy with picking up Dougie Hamilton. I think that's also my 6th defenseman. Yeah, it is. So I'm okay with that. I didn't really need the defenseman, but I'm okay with that.
No, that's fair. And I'm going again against the grain here a little bit, but I am going to go with 2 goalies, right, as we're 0G, but we're in the 12th round. And as we've seen, like looking up at some of these, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 goalies go in the first 3 rounds. So it's interesting in some of these mocks where you got to get a goalie at some point or just not have them at all, which is kind of funny. But I go with Jacob Markstrom and Thatcher Demko. Again, I'm just loving on Jacob Markstrom here. But yeah, no, it's and we got the Eggman going in Ryan's honor here at the 13-3. This man doesn't go undrafted. You know, his head's too shiny.
It's so shiny. It's the shiniest head. If you hold him up to next to a carton of eggs, you won't be able to tell the difference. It's a fact.
That's why they signed him to so much money.
Right.
Must be some sort of egg deal in Edmonton going on. So then you're coming up on your pick. Jordy goes, I want to go 0G all day, but Blackwood in the 9th is probably illegal. You could say that, and I do feel that way. There's certain goalies where, you know, I think Ryan said it in some of our prior drafts, like when you got Vasilevsky or Ottinger or Shesterkin available in like, you know, the 7th, 8th round, it's kind of hard not to take some of those higher end goalies, at least for one of your picks, just to have an absolute stud in there. I don't really hate on that particular aspect of it. I'm all about fading goalies, but if there are top tier goalies like that available in the later mid rounds, I don't hate smashing that draft button.
Exactly. It's exactly what Ryan says, the value over replacement. So if you can get an idea of the value that you're going to be drafting these guys, you can still be following the 0G strategy, but the value is too good to be true. You're not going to lose on that pick. So yeah, you definitely want to go there. But we're definitely getting close here. I feel like each round has been speeding up a little bit. And my queue is getting shorter and shorter. So I'm a little nervous on that, but it's all right. You go back to Old Faithful with Matty Barzal again.
Yeah, it's too easy at this point. You know, I just like to get, you know, some of these guys that I know. I think, you know, again, value we're looking at this part of the draft. You know, I really like that. And I'm kind of coming up on my other pick here. And this is a guy actually that I had targeted in some other mocks as well. Quentin Byfield here feels pretty good to me in the 15th round. I'm curious to see. I know Nathan Blake did the projections on him as well. I really think he could be like a 70-plus point player, and he's just it's taken him a little bit to come into his own, and it's different in the defensive format that LA runs, but I really think he has the talent and the ability to do that. he's still really young, and I think that with his line mates of Fiala and Lafreniere also, I think is going to take a good step, and he's going to get that top power play time this year. I think is going to be a big difference maker for him. As you're coming up on your pick, I'll look at some of these other ones here. Evgeny Malkin in the 15th round, Zach Bolduc, Barrett Hayton, Wallman, Olivier. You go back to the well as well with Matt Duchene at the 15-11, Noah Hannafin, Will Smith, and you're on the clock here. I'm curious to see what you're gonna cook up, because Matt Duchene, I'm trying to see. So you had Matt Duchene, Vince Dunn. I think that's it that was on your team from the last mock. And you go Valerie Nichushkin. So stealing some of my thunder. Why don't you talk to me about how you're just stealing all my players?
Listen, it's called strategy. All right. I see what I like. I try to replicate it. That the 30 seconds really does throw you off. It's like, okay, 10 seconds to realize it's your pick. You got 10 seconds to find a player, then you have 10 seconds to execute that player. No, I like Valerie Nichushkin if he can stay healthy, which I know has been an issue. A lot of value. Anyone on Colorado, you're going to have a lot of value there. I feel okay with that. I really liked that pick where you went with him last time. I might stack it with some Landeskog. Who knows? That's the thing about these ESPN drafts. It's just forward and defense. You get a lot of value here. I see you go with Geeky at the 16-11, and then a fan favorite, Troy Terry. Love that.
Yeah, Troy Terry is interesting because I think he's going to be of value on those off nights for Anaheim. So a lot of people, if they're taking him, it's not like you're putting him right on your main roster spot a lot. He's going to get those off night coverage. So I really like that for some of these Anaheim guys. And that's why I was big on taking other Anaheim players too. Nuge goes as well in the 17th round. Like that there. I think Morgan Geeky too. A lot of people are going to be sleeping on the second half of last year when he was stapled to David Pasternak. He went on an absolute tear, close to a point per game pace. And I think he's going to somewhat keep that up. I don't know if it's completely sustainable at that rate, but I'm looking for him to put up some really good numbers, shots, hits, power play points, everything that goes along with Pasta. You can't play with one of the best players in the world and not have that. I think he's a really good rush player too, underratedly.
I ran out of time. That's
you
hilarious.
Go with the bunt king in the 18th round.
No, I didn't. That was an auto pick.
Own it. You got to own it, Brian. Come on.
Yeah. I'm trying to drop the talent of my team down a little bit. So I went with the bunt cake, who is the least favorite player on every team, apparently. He gets traded. I feel like every 3 quarters of the season, he's on a different team. But hey, it is what it is. I went with Donato. Again, I like Donato. I feel like he's going to have a very similar year that he did this past year. I actually didn't want to pick up Donato, but I couldn't find the other player I was looking for. I guess I didn't queue him. So you ran out of time. That's why it's very important. Get your queues ready.
That will happen. And I have that problem as well, because in a lot of these drafts, when I'm trying to share the screen, it won't let me do the queues. So I kind of just go off the top here a lot of times. But, it's not too bad. Well, let's see. I'm going to go forward here. I've got some options, and I'm going to go with Mom Spaghetti Cole Perfetti. I think we've talked about it too a lot. His now opportunity in Winnipeg on the top power play. So he's kind of a decent little player to me. I think he's kind of been in that 40 to 50 point range. But if he gets more minutes in top power play, I think all of the signs point to him getting some much better point production.
Yep. I love that. Coming up on my pick here, I don't know if you want to do a little bit of a recap.
Yeah, as we're kind of moving through here, I thought about taking Gabe Landeskog. He was in my queue. I went with Shane Gostisbehere instead as kind of a 6th defenseman option. He's still going to be top power play there, at least to start the year over Nikishin in my mind. Ryan would have a stroke if he saw that Elvis Merzlikins was being drafted, because he's big on Jet Greaves winning the Vezina this year for his money. But you go with Patrick Kane and Tyler Seguin, some old heads.
Yeah, listen, I didn't want you to take Patrick Kane this time, so I took him when I did. And I'm happy about it. I'm okay with Patty Kane at the 19. I feel like I don't know what you think, but I feel like at the 18-19 is almost drop territory that you'll be dropping for streamers. So I'm okay with that. I think Patty Kane obviously has the talent there, so definitely okay to see him on my team. I'm definitely going to take a guess that you're very upset with the Jordy Scary team that we picked right beside you or right before you, because he did go with Zeev Buyam, who has been a lock attached to you in fantasy drafts. So I'm sure that's breaking your heart. I'm sorry that you just experienced that.
That is a tough look for sure. As I'm struggling, it seems like a lot of my forward options, it's kind of getting down to it here. Some of my guys that I really like are gone now. Mm-hmm. So I think weirdly, again, I think in this format you could easily go with two goalies, but Chicago has one of the better off-night schedules in the league, and so I go with Spencer Knight. I think he could be a good zero-G option, similar to like a Lucas Dostal. If Chicago gets a little bit better, but even him individually did not perform that terribly with their porous defense. So I really don't hate that just for the off nights. Thought about Jeremy Swayman for a bounce back, but I already have two goalies that are going to play a lot of the main nights like Markstrom and Demko. But yeah, value over replacement here. I feel like looking at some of the forwards, like a lot of guys I normally target, like Jason Zucker, Sagan, Kane, Zuccarello, the Zucchini Man, they're all gone. You even took the bunt cake from me. What am I left with here? We're bare bones at the end of this draft.
I'll tell you who is available. He's on Winnipeg, Dylan DeMello.
Yeah, you better go get him. As you go, Mikhail Granlund and Pyotr Kochetkov. Man, I thought Pyotr Kochetkov was going to be like a guy that actually did something. I really thought he was going to be taking the net from Freddie a lot sooner than he has. What about you?
Yeah, so did I. I definitely thought they were going to just give it to him and he's going to run with it, but they still love that tandem going back and forth. And then Freddie kind of gets the lion's share when it matters the most. He just really hasn't been able to grasp it. But I think it's also just too good to pass up on a Carolina goalie. I think their goalie environment is so good. I think it's fine to take anyone from Carolina with the last pick of your draft.
Yeah. And I'm going to go with the injury-riddled Josh Norris. I feel like I am not a huge fan on Josh Norris personally, but every time I kind of look into his stats and his pedigree, it's hard not to look at him. But all right, well, let's kind of look into these here. Comment real quick. Jordy, hard to get good info on these auto drafts, but you guys are doing a great job. Nikisha and Perek going to go undrafted thanks to ESPN amazing rankings. Exactly. That is a good point to bring up, and that's why ESPN is tough in these scenarios. But if you do draft in ESPN leagues, it makes it so you can steal some of those players. And I feel like I was able to kind of do that last year because their ADPs are so kind of out there that some of these guys aren't even listed. You just search them and you're like, whoa, what? They're not listed on the ADP or projections or anything. Let's go over the best team ever drafted in fantasy hockey real quick. Leon Draisaitl, Kaprizov, Victor Hedman, Adam Fox, Josh Morrissey, Jesper Bratt, Lucas Raymond, Lane Hudson, Drake Patterson, Sveshnikov, Vince Dunn, Dougie Hamilton, Besser, Duchesne, Nichushkin, Donato, Bunt King, Patrick Kane, Sagan, Granlund, and then your goalies with Linus Ullmark and Pyotr Kochetkov. That is the only spot I think you could argue that maybe you don't have the best players in every position.
Bunt cake, man. That auto draft really got me. But you said that the best draft in fantasy history. This is actually Ryan's team. I got him on an earpiece here, and he was telling me what to do. No, joking. Yeah, I can't really deny it. I think I made the right call by going at the end of the draft. I got a lot of steals here. Draisaitl, Kaprizov falling to me when they did. All three of those defensemen coming at me. Jesper Bratt at the 6, I'm very happy with. I think the only knock here is definitely the bunt cake going at the 18-2.
He's the team mascot at this point.
He is something. He's the team dingus. He's the team dingus is what he is. That's for sure. Let's take a look at your team. McDavid, Quinn Hughes, Bouchard to round up the top 3 picks, which is great. You got Reinhart at the 4, Tage Thompson, Maurice Sider, Sebastian Aho, Seth Jones, Robo Thomas, Zach Hyman, Luke Hughes, Markstrom, Thatcher Demko. I love that stack of Markstrom and Demko. I actually forgot about goalie till a little later, so great job there. Matty Barzell, Quinton Byfield, Morgan Geeky, Troy Terry, Shane Gossesbeer at the 1811, Cole Perfetti, Leo Carlson, Spencer Knight, and Josh Norris. Yeah, I love that. Which of your picks do you think you got the best value?
Looking at it, I mean, it's pretty much to me that 4th through 7th round, I want to say, going Reinhart, Tage, Sider, Aho. Really happy with all those. I mean, Sam Reinhart in the 4th round is nasty. I kind of don't hate that. Maurice Sider in the 6th round. Really happy with that. Outside, and Matthew Barzell in the 14th, I think, is a smash. I think you can't, I like looking at my team, and even when you get down to, some of the later picks, I'm super happy with it. And it's a stacked team. I think you can agree, all of these teams, when we do these mocks, are stacked. It's just yours is that much better. I think right from the top, you go Draisaitl, Kaprizov. I don't think anyone's ever in the history of any league drafted Draisaitl and Kaprizov at the 11 and 13 spot. That's incredible stuff.
I think if I want to point out my two biggest value picks in my draft, it will actually be my first and second pick. Draisaitl and Kaprizov. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Awesome. And how about this, Evan? Because we don't have, we don't really know if we have Apples Ginos members in here, but why don't you pick your least favorite team and tell me why it's your least favorite?
Oh, let's take a look here. I'm trying to look at some of these ones. So who went?
Team 4 went with a goalie at the 1-4. FYI.
Yeah, I think that's got to be. I think that's got to be it if you're looking at it. Yeah, because a lot of these other teams still have really good, players. I think, it's got to be Team 4. When they go Hellebuck, Caulfield, Ovechkin for their first 3 picks. Not that they're the worst picks. They're great players. It's just for value, instead of Cole Caulfield, they could have gotten Kyle Connor or Panarin, or I'm sorry, no, it went the other way. They could have had, Bouchard, Dahlin, Yossi, Gensel. I'd rather have any of those over Caulfield or Ovi. So yeah, I think that's probably the worst team, but got to give everyone credit. Can't flaunt it too much, because if you do that, then you just get rated the worst team, and then you'll win,
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. But this is also why we kind of fade goalies a little bit, right? Because Hellebuck's great, but he could have got Draisaitl, he could have got Kaprizov. It just kind of shows you can definitely pick up a goalie a little later. Look at Evan's team; he picked up two starters in late rounds, which is awesome. That we love to see. So. I think that's kind of where we're at. But Evan, any final thoughts here?
No, I think, like you said, it's interesting when you do some of these ESPN Yahoo mocks. When you have 30 seconds on the clock and you get sniped, it's full-blown panic time, because if you don't have your queue ready, even if you do have your queue ready, you're kind of looking, being like, so it's fun to do these because it's kind of speed running drafts, but it allows you to kind of pinpoint some of those players that you want in specific rounds. So really fun stuff. Great job by everyone. Love to do it. We're here every Wednesday.
Every single Wednesday. But with that, that's all we've got for this episode. So hopefully it brought you some value, helped you get just a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. Many thanks to the band there for supplying the music, for supplying the music for the podcast. Be sure to check out their Spotify as well. We appreciate your time. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.